Hi everyone, it's Mackenzie Deacons again, and today I'm going to talk to you about something so important. I'm going to tell you the 3 steps to build and create your wedding photography business. Awesome, right? So I'm going to go through it really quick, and I hope that at the end of this that you'll be able to jump right on in and start your wedding photography business. So first of all, you'll need to build your brand. So a lot of times that will include your name. It doesn't have to necessarily. A lot of photographers will choose something like darling or cute, like persnickety or something cute and darling like that. Or you can go with your name. I know a lot of photographers use their first and last name. For example, I use my first and last name in my company, but in the beginning I didn't. I was called Photography by Mackenzie. So you'll want to establish that and really hone in on that. Now, secondly, you'll want to get a logo that goes along with your name. What I used is a company called Fiverr. And I love this website because you go onto this website and it's more of like an auction-based design company. So you go on and you say, I have like $35 that I want to put towards this design. And you put that out there and you say, I'm a photographer and I like the color pink. That's what I said, at least. And I had people from all over, designers, artists from all over the world to be able to submit their designs to me. So I had so many options and I had, like $35. So once I found the one I liked, I awarded that $35 to that designer and I loved it. It's the logo I use today. It's actually on the back of my camera bag that I designed. So it's a huge part of my brand, my name. Also, I love the color pink, so that kind of like coordinated with that. I built the color pink into my logo and my brand. And instead of doing like a camera around it, I liked that it was more simplistic so that I could branch out to maybe doing products and stuff like that and educational tools. So kind of thinking about what you're all about. In the beginning, you could have it be something simplistic, just like your name with some beautiful artwork around it. So building your logo is the first thing. Now, everything else will kind of fall into place once you have kind of established your brand. You'll want to build a website next. Now, back in the day, 14 years ago when I became a photographer, the websites were like almost unobtainable. They were like $2,000 and up to get a custom website built and designed. Now you can go on the World Wide Web, you can go on and find a WordPress template to use or have someone like your neighbor or a friend help you build a WordPress site, or a Squarespace has stuff like that. So there's so many options out there for like maybe a couple $100, and you can get this beautifully designed website that looks amazing for your portfolio and not for like pennies in comparison to like where I had to start from, right? So basically easy peasy. Secondly, you'll want to branch off from there. So your home base is going to be kind of like your website is going to be kind of your home base, where you will have your social media pieces put together there. So the next step would be to start branching out to social media. So the way that I built my business was I began with expos and magazines. And once social media came out with like Facebook and Instagram, that was where I was able to really showcase my personality and brand myself to that next level. So I would suggest building your Instagram as your business. So most people have like their personal Instagram website or personal Instagrams, but you'll want to make one specific to your business. And you'll want to really hone in on what you're planning on posting. And so when you're posting your images on Instagram, you're looking at how they all tell a story towards each other. On Instagram, you are selling yourself in pictures of 9 instead of just one image, if that makes sense, because people are looking at 9 images all at once. They're not just looking at one image. So when you're posting, you'll want to make sure that they all look good. So you wouldn't have like 2 close-ups of a person like right after each other. You would kind of maybe want to split that up a little bit. But that's more on the aesthetically pleasing side of things. Most importantly, just get it set up. Set up an Instagram. Go on Twitter, set up a Twitter for your company and your Facebook page and a blog. Make sure you've got your blog. And all of those things are going to be linked back onto your website. And making sure you go onto Google, update your business profile there. Everything always has to stay current and updated, okay? So it looks like you're active and that you are an established business, okay? The Knot has a really good I've actually been really pleased with my results there. So if you go on The Knot, you can go on there and create a profile there. And your previous brides can also go on there and leave you reviews. And it's a very respected website. So that is also a great way to do some branding and getting your name out there. Authenticity. So when we're talking about social media, I know that we have everyone's lives at our fingertips. Like we know everyone's life, but I don't want you to necessarily look at someone and say, oh, they've done that, so it must work for me. Instead, look at their business, look at their strategies that they've used and be inspired by them and say like, how can I make them mine? How can that make sense in my own business? So for example, what I've done, and again, like it organically happened in my instance. So I'm just very grateful for that. But I started making lip sync videos with my couples, and it kind of went a little viral. If you look up the hashtag make lip sync, people just went crazy for it. And I love that. I love it because I just happened to have a song in my head when I was at like an engagement session or a bridal session with my client. And I was like, you guys, we should make a video about us lip syncing to this song. And so we made this little lip sync, and it ended up to be something that people would hire me for. They'd be like, oh my gosh, I've got to hire you because I want to do a lip sync with you. And it just blew me away. People would be like, oh, what song are we going to lip sync to next? And people would follow me and be like, the only reason I'm following you is to watch these lip syncs. Like I'm here for the lip syncs, but I'm staying for the great photography to be inspired by. So I was really grateful that I just happened upon this very unique thing that was unique to me that would go viral so that my name would be just everywhere. And it just happened organically. So I know it's hard because I can't say, and you should do this. But what I want you to do is be true and authentic to yourself. Because I feel like the more true you are to yourself, then the thing that you're looking for that will set you apart will just naturally come into play. It just will. And if you do have that working for you, then the world is your oyster. You'll be able to just go so far in this. With branding and creating a name for yourself out there. So build your name and your logo. Get your website built and designed. Set up all of your platforms for social media and start building your content, okay? So that's step 1. Step 2, perfect your craft. Building a name and a brand for yourself is very important, but you won't get far if your quality of image isn't up to the standard of a wedding photographer. Being a wedding photographer is the shiz. You have made it if you are a wedding photographer, okay? Hello. It takes stress, patience, love, artistic integrity. I mean, you have so many things that are going on for you as a wedding photographer that you have to keep in place at all times. And so it is important for you to have that quality of image all the way up at the top, right there. Okay, so I've gone over, I want to go over 4 things. There are 4 C's to create a perfect photo. The first one is color. I love color. I love the color pink, obviously, but what I love most about color is paying attention to how it affects my subjects. So for example, if someone's wearing a red dress, putting them next to green pine trees is beautiful because yellow or red and green are complementary colors. So paying attention to what your surroundings are versus your location versus your what your subjects are wearing, what their clothing choices are. So, and also paying attention to what colors bounce off and reflect back up into other people's faces. Just looking around, paying attention to the temperature of colors in the background against the sky. What if you're backlit? What does that do to the sky? What if you're front lit? What does that do to the sky versus white sky versus sunsets versus, different backdrops there. So paying attention to color. So adding color is important, but sometimes you don't need to have a lot of color. Minimalistic images, stuff that's just more breathtaking. It's more about the emotion of the image instead of like, wow, look at her red hair, or wow, look at his cool shirt. It's more about taking that color out, and it's more about the couple or the moment in that moment. Okay, so the next C is composition. That is one of the easiest ways to create a beautiful image, is just putting something off to the side or understanding where you want to put it. Like, so if you put your couple right in the middle and you have a lot of negative space outside of them, that works if you're using enough headspace, like I'm using in this image. So with composition, you're just paying attention to keeping your couple or your point of interest in the rule of thirds. So either to the left or to the right, keeping them in those quadrants where those lines are intersecting. Okay, so that's composition. So we've got color, we've got composition, and thirdly, we've got content. That's one of my favorites because it involves emotion. And that's what people love. They want to remember this beautiful wedding day because of the content. Like they hired you to photograph them on their wedding day in this emotional, beautiful surroundings. So sometimes content can actually overpower something being perfectly technical. Like, oh, that over there isn't perfect in that left corner because it's too bright or something. But if there's a dad wiping a tear off of the bride's face as they're having their first look, hello, that's way more important. So paying attention to content and how that can, outweigh, the maybe imperfections in an image. So we've got first color, second composition, and third content. The last piece is correct exposure, and this one is the most difficult to achieve, and it can differ from one style to the next. So discovering maybe you like most of your images a little bit darker, a little bit low key, that's fine, that's your style. But someone else, a different photographer, can think that they're underexposed. So kind of finding that fine line between like finding your specific style. Maybe you like something overexposed, lots of color, backlit versus like in the shadows with window light. It just depends on what you specifically like to, what your style is. So composition, I have a separate video on how to create correct exposure using the exposure triangle with, and you can download that anytime from my website. If you go to the Mackenzie bag, you can download the exposure triangle video I've got there. So color, composition, content, and correct exposure. Those are the 4 C's to creating a beautiful photo. Now that you've got those things taken, you've taken that picture, the next step is going to be editing. So what I want you to know is, guess what? You can totally use Lightroom to edit your images. What's in Lightroom? Oh, you could just download Mackenzie's Lightroom presets and use those, just if you have time. Okay, but you have time, all right? So use my presets and it will cut your editing time in half. So go to themackenziebag.com and download Mackenzie's Lightroom presets. These will save you editing time. They'll make it so that your images look powerful and pop and have that dramatic, beautiful look that's happening right now. So download this today and they literally will save your life, okay? So there's that. Also, you want to start building your personal style. So what you want to put in your portfolio are images that will attract your clients that you're looking for. So don't post images of a bride that maybe doesn't have their style up to where you would want their style. So I'm just going to give the example of like, back when I first started, there were fluorescent Gerber daisies that were happening, and they were like every color, and bridesmaids had the colors of red, orange, and yellow. Now, currently that's not trending. So if your bride chose that color scheme and you photographed that wedding, I would suggest you not post any of those images from that wedding. That's nothing to say that her choices aren't, awesome for her, but for you and your brand, you don't really want to be associated with something that's not happening now. Because if you do post those types of images, you'll attract more brides that are similar to that style, if that makes sense. So again, nothing against that bride. We love her. She is beautiful. We love her. But make sure that you're really culling through your images when you post on social media platforms and on your blog, that you're only showcasing the brides that represent your brand, okay? Stylized shoots. What's important about building stylized shoots is working with local vendors. It's the best, easiest way to get your hands on knowing personally florists, makeup artists, hair people, venues, and florists. I think I've got all of them. Pretty much everyone that you would interact with on a normal basis, you want to become friends with them. You want them to want to refer you because you want to be able to share the images from future weddings with them. So honestly, I've had a lot of people come up and ask me like, what do I do? What is the step to approaching a venue or a vendor? so that I can ask them to work with me. And honestly, what happened with me is I just did it. Like, you just have to go out and do it. You have to push past that awkward social awkwardness that sometimes you're like, oh, I might be rejected or they'll say no. Just know that you're not going to die if they say no, and then just do it. Go approach them. I usually will go to bridal fairs and actually go up to them face to face and introduce myself and say, hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm actually a local photographer. I am loving your stuff, your work, and I would love to work with you. And so building that relationship face to face or even through email or through a phone call is just so important. And just do it. Just to do it. So work with a wedding planner or just build up a theme yourself and go out, shoot this gorgeous event or this gorgeous stylized shoot that looks very much like your style, and then post those everywhere. Also post like close-ups and faraway shots. Just get so much content that throughout the year you can start building a social media calendar. So you can start filling in these stylized shoots throughout the whole year. Like maybe when you're slower or if you're busier, it can help clean up the feed if you don't have a lot of like images to post at that time. Maybe you don't have like a ton of great weddings that are on trend with your style. You can fill in with those images. So I've used Hootsuite, which is a great social media calendaring option. They can post automatically, and it can help comment and stuff for that in that way. So that is what you'll want to do. You want to make sure that you have current images and are posting often. Now, finally, when it comes to perfecting your craft, you want to make sure that you're evolving, okay? Don't stay stagnant. I've been shooting for 14 years and I've literally seen I've gone through like the graffiti and the train tracks and like I said, the Gerber daisies or like the red roses and everything else is in black and white. I've seen so many different trends come and go, making sure that you're still current. So when a trend comes, you're still like giving it a nod. You're staying true to yourself and to your craft and to your honest artwork, but you are paying attention to what's currently happening and you're not going to be pushed to the side. Okay, so perfecting your craft. Finally, step 3, building your business. Now, we've talked about building your name and your brand, perfecting your craft, and this last piece is building your business. This is the part that's maybe not super duper fun, but very important. I know for me, I have built my business in different ways, and it's because I've tried different avenues that I'm like, oh, that one didn't really work very well, or that one worked really well. So I would say for me personally, my business definitely boomed once social media became a thing. So Facebook happened, and then shortly after that, Instagram just exploded. And what I love about Instagram is that it does show a lot of my behind the scenes stuff that people weren't really seeing before. And then they were getting to know me. So in the past, I would have to go to bridal fairs for people to meet me and to feel that emotional attachment to get to spend the most important day of their lives with me. So that was happening. And then I was also doing a lot of consultations. Now my business has evolved where people, when they meet with me, they've already gone to my blog or my Instagram and seen my behind the scenes stuff. They've kind of gotten to know me a little bit more that way, so that now I save a lot of time, like a lot of face-to-face time. So building my business in the way that I work right now is that I don't ever really meet my client until I see them on their engagement session. So the way that I'm able to do that is through an app and a platform called HoneyBook. Now, this program is amazing. I 5 stars, 100% stamp of approval from Mackenzie. I love HoneyBook. It has literally changed my business in 100 different ways. Let me go through it a couple different step by step. Number 1 is that it makes me look amazing to my clients. What happens when I receive an inquiry through my website is I send a brochure through HoneyBook to them. And it's this beautiful electronic brochure. It's beautifully designed and it's all done through HoneyBook. I could put all of their contact information in and then I send them my pricing and my brochure, and it just looks beautiful. It looks stunning. So then on their end, they look through the brochure and they can click on which one they like, and that gets reported back to me that it gets reported back to me that they've even viewed it. It's so awesome. And so I kind of feel like I'm behind the scenes seeing all of this happen. And so they send it back to me and they have questions and we coordinate through my HoneyBook my HoneyBook app. And I have it on my app, or on my phone, so that if I ever receive any inquiries, I can do everything from my phone, which is really user-friendly, very awesome. And then the best part is that once they've decided, they're like, hey, I want collection 1, then I I click a couple buttons and it auto generates an agreement and an invoice that has everything, all the legality stuff like already written for me, and I send it to them, and then they can electronically agree to it and click to sign it, and then they can also pay their invoice and their deposit at that exact same time. So yes, they do have like a little bit of a fee there. When it comes to any credit card processing, you will need to pay a fee, but it's very minimal, it's very competitive, and it's slick. It makes me look so legit, which, hello, of course I am. But yeah, but it makes you look like awesome, okay? So I love HoneyBook, and I actually have a special discount code for you, which you can find at the end of this video. And if you click on it, you'll get like a special discount to go and try HoneyBook for, I believe, 30 days, but you will love it, and you'll just totally use it for the rest of your life. You'll love it. Okay. So pricing though, that leads me to my next point. When I first became a photographer, I was like, I don't really know like what I should charge. Like, I just feel bad. Like, you're my friend, so I'll just do it for free, blah, 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 blah. And that's really where everyone starts, is they're like, oh, I don't know, just like whatever. But on it, the sooner you can gain that confidence in your craft and your art, the better. Even if everyone says, fake it till you make it, but seriously, you really do need to fake it a little bit in the beginning. But what I want you to do is, and this is what I tell all of my beginning photography students and the people that come to me for advice, is they say, what should I start out at charging? I'm like, well, start by charging maybe like $35 for like your family, and for like a baby or something. And then the next time you shoot someone, up your price. $45, and the next price $55, and the next price $65. So every single time you're charging someone until you start getting the word, oh, that's a little pricey for me. Then that's maybe, I mean, in my market, I'm in Utah, which is actually a lot different than everywhere else in the world. So it might be a little skewed there, but the same kind of rule applies. Is just once you get to a point where people are like, oh, that's a little too much, then that's where you want to stay for a little bit, but then just keep raising it. Now, I continue to raise my prices just constantly. So I'm continuing to raise my prices. I have some people that maybe they want to hire me. Some people, oh, it's a little bit too expensive, that kind of a thing. So as you're raising your prices, find that level that you feel comfortable with. You feel like they're getting what they're needing. They have like the great images on their end, and then you feel comfortable with what you're charging as well. You want to make sure that you're not being overworked. You're not booking more than your artistic life can handle. If you're booking and doing 3 shoots a day every day, that's too much. Raise your prices. That's not okay. All right. I limit myself to 2 shoots a week, and that's including a wedding. So if I have a wedding during a week, I'm only shooting 1 wedding a week, and I'm only grabbing 1 other bridal or engagement or family session that week. Okay. Because I need time to edit. I need time to like live my life and have a family and take care of my life. Okay. So make sure that you are pricing yourself appropriately, but don't discount yourself. Okay. Even if you're shooting for family and friends, even when my family comes to me, I say I have family pricing, and I give them my family pricing. Or I say like, yeah, well, really, I'll give you my family pricing. Once you've built your business and you're on your way to success, you've got money coming in, you want to make sure that you're staying very current with your equipment. So if you want to invest in lenses, I would suggest renting lenses from different companies. There's local companies that have them, or Borrow Lens has great lens options that you can borrow and really figure out some equipment options there. I personally love shooting with standard or fixed lenses. The 1.4, 1.2 lenses are just like bread and butter for me. I love those lenses. So making sure that you are updating your equipment often and really honing in on your craft. Once you've shot a few weddings, you'll be able to start working on a referral basis. You want to make sure that your timeline, your turnaround time for your images is very fast. People want their pictures back fast. If you get them back fast, they're more excited to post on their social media sites, making it easier for you to reach their friends, which makes them come back to you and ask about their wedding photographer and book their friends as well. So making sure your turnaround time is fast, as well as reaching out to them after the wedding and really giving that last like customer service. Just make sure that they know that you love them, that you just want to be in their life, you want to see where they go, you want to take their family pictures in the future. Just finishing up with them and making them feel like they were awesome. And honestly, like that's how it is with me. I love my clients. I'm like really good with friends with a lot of my clients now. So being true and genuine to yourself there. Now, don't compare, this is in conclusion, don't compare yourself to other photographers. Every photographer will have their own voice and their own art form. So a lot of times I will do that. I'll go down that treacherous track of looking at someone's pictures and being like, I'm not good enough, or like, they did it better. So making sure that you are, proud of yourself, that you love yourself and you know that you're a good photographer and that you know that you can do this. To quote my favorite movie, Bad Moms, pull your tits up, okay? Go to work, get the job done, and never stop. I love you so much. Goodbye. Bonus time. Hey guys, I have a special surprise for you. I wanted to give you my shot list for weddings. It is tried and true, and it is like my bread and butter. You are gonna love this. Okay, so what I do when I first start shooting my group pictures at a wedding is I take the big group. So that's friends, family, that's everyone who's there for the bride and groom. And I say it in a very direct voice. Everyone who's here for the bride and groom, follow me this way. And I'm very big with my hands and my arms, and I'm directing everyone to come over to the spot for group pictures. Okay, so you direct people, you get them there, you have everyone look at the camera and smile, take lots of pictures there, and then you do like a hurrah or the bride and groom kissing and everyone looking. I've even had it where I do each couple kissing, and that's kind of funny. And then the singles, I'm like, and if you're single, do one of these. And everyone loves it, okay? So have fun with your groups. Next, you go to the bride side. I always favor the bride side because they're the ones that actually are paying for me. And not to be awful to the groom side, I love you groom side, but mainly it's because in the past I've just had like that problem where they've said, hey, we paid for you, so we want you to make sure that we get catered to first. It's either hot or cold, and they just want to get out first. And so that's, as a rule of thumb, I do that. Now, if I do see little kids in the groom side and there's maybe no little kids on the bride side, I ask the bride permission if I can do the groom side first to get the little kids or maybe the elderly into the air conditioning or whatnot, okay? So if I'm doing the bride side first, I start with everyone here for the bride. That's friends and family. So everyone here for the bride. Next, I take all of the friends out. So I take all the friends out, and then I take one of just the family. That's including aunts, uncles, and cousins, okay? So that's the extended family, everyone who's like blood related. And I usually say all the mudbloods come out or something funny like that. Okay, so you take out all of the friends and family, or all of the friends, leave the extended family. Then next, you're going to take out aunts, uncles, and cousins, and grandparents. So you say extended family. So I say, all the extended family, can I have you step out? And people, they don't hear that word often, so they don't understand it. So what you're going to say is all aunts, uncles, cousins, and grandparents step out for just a minute. Grandparents usually are like, why am I stepping out? And you say, grandparents, we love you so much, but you'll get your own VIP photo in just a minute. And so we have them stand at the side. And then at that point, you can say, aunts, uncles, and cousins, you are officially dismissed. We have all the pictures we need of you. And so then you take the immediate family, and that's like the bride's brothers, sisters, and their spouses, and her nieces and nephews, if that's the case, okay? So you take that picture, then you go directly to the nieces and nephews picture because you want to get everything that's associated with those nieces and nephews done first so that they can get out of there, okay? So the bride and groom, sometimes I'll have them sit down or just grab the kids, and usually this is a really funny picture where they are all like crying and screaming because they've been waiting for this picture this whole time, and they're little kids, and give them a break. And so anyway, so I usually turn around and get a picture of like the mom and dad, like all the moms and dads behind me are like, like acting crazy and stuff to get their kids to laugh. It's one of my favorite pictures. Anyway, so from there, you take the kids out, and then you do a sibling picture, because remember how we want to get those nieces and nephews out of there as fast as we can. So the mom and the dad, or the Yeah, the brothers and sisters of the bride. So you say brothers and sisters and spouses of the bride. You go in there, okay? And then you take the mudbloods out again. So that's the in-laws, okay? So you take the in-laws out, and then that's left with just the brothers and sisters of the bride. So the bride has her brothers and sisters there. You take that picture. Then you take all of the brothers out, and then it's just the sisters, okay? You take that picture, and then you add the sister-in-laws back in, and then you do like a laughing picture, and they're like giggling and laughing, okay? And then that's all the girl pictures. So then you take all the girls out, put the brothers back in, do the brothers, and usually if there's two, I'll have them like give a little kiss on the cheek or something cute like that. Okay, so then you've got that. Now that's all of the sibling pictures. Now you're gonna go put the parents back in. So you put the groom back in, bride, groom, mom and dad. That's a picture, okay? And then you do her combinations with her parents. So you take the groom out, and now it's just mom and dad and the bride. Then you take the mom out, and it's just dad and the bride. And usually I have them have this moment just because in all the chaos and all the stress and all this madness of the wedding day, they really haven't even looked at their daughter and had a minute yet. So this is literally my favorite part about weddings is they look at each other. I say, you guys, look at each other and say, I love you. And the dad and the bride turn towards each other and they look at each other and say, I love you. And no matter what, waterworks happen. Tears come out. It's one of the most emotional parts about my whole wedding, the whole wedding day. It's just so beautiful. I love it. And I do that same thing with the mom. So then I pop the mom back up there and take the dad out, and then she has a cute little moment. And then usually I'll have them like, oh, pretend to like fix her veil or something and have that moment with her. Now I'll do the parents picture because then now I'm done with everyone on the bride side except for the mom and dad, because the mom and dad of the bride I want to also put in with the mom and the dad of the groom. So next step we do the groom's the groom's, I add the groom's parents and the bride's parents. So it's both sets of parents. So I say, both sets of parents, come up here. Now this is a cute picture if you know that each couple is happily married. So do not do this picture if you do not know this, okay? I usually have all three sets of these couples turn to each other and give them a big kiss on the mouth. And it's really funny and we get lots of laughs and everyone just has a good time with it. But be sure that they're all happily married before you do that picture, okay? Okay, so now you do all of the combination. Now that you've got the groom's parents right there, you do all of their combinations. So you do mom and dad, just mom and dad, then just dad, then just mom. Okay, so you have all of that. And then you pull in everyone for the groom. Now this has all happened within like 20 minutes or something. If you can efficiently direct this group, you can get this done super snappy fast. So now you bring in everyone for the groom. You say, everyone here for the groom. I need everybody here for the groom. And you're being grand and grabbing them, okay? So you grab everyone here for the groom, everyone here for the groom, and they all come in. And then you pull out the friends. So you do that shot, then you take the friends out. Then it's just extended family. So you do the exact same pattern that you just did with the bride's family all the way down to, you know, the brothers and the sisters. And that really hasn't taken very long because everyone is there for the same specific reason to get their picture taken. So they want to get out there just as much as everyone else does. So from there, after that, I take the bride and groom around, you know, the gardens, wherever they were married, and take some more pictures of just those two. And then I dismiss them for the rest of the time. And usually that takes, I would say, about an hour and a half is from the beginning to the end, is that whole scheme of things. So I hope you had fun, as much fun as I did. And yeah, stay in touch. Let me know like how everything goes with you and if you have any questions. I love you so much. Goodbye.